Good evening, folks, and welcome to another fun-filled episode of The Other Side of Ropes. And yes, if you're watching this, then congratulations. You survived the first two installments, and now you're on to 3, the magic number. Before I get me started, I want to give a couple of quick birthday shout-outs to Bernd Lorenz. You all know and love him over in Germany. He's the master for WrestlingJunkies.de. He is the brains and the mother nucleus of the Wrestling Junkies board. He's also the general, as it were. Also, another shout out going out to Preston Steele. Happy birthday to you, sir. Also, one of my candidates for the MMA certification for strength and conditioning, Paul Chalk. I know you probably don't watch this, but I had to throw that shout out anyway. And another quick shout out to one of Philly's finest. That would be none other than Devin Moore, who just came out with a shoot interview the other day. Congratulations, my man. And I will be checking that out on my own. The rest of you guys, I recommend you check it out too. Now then, on to the subject at hand. Crap. What the heck was it? I'm kidding. No, there was something else that popped up in my mind, and no, it's not always about catch as catch can, even though it will possibly turn into the loop, because there's always some type of cycle going on in the crazy world that we call pro wrestling. And one thing that I just noticed that I probably didn't pay much attention to for a second, but I should have, is this. One of the things that stick in my craw. Why is it that you have, okay, granted, you got casual fans, you got your diehards, they'll watch the programming. I'm talking about mainstream. And of course, by mainstream, for those of you who haven't quite figured out what I meant by now, there's only 2 mainstream programs. I'm not talking about Raw and SmackDown. That's part of the equation, but it's pretty much the flip side of the same coin. But we're on that same vein. But yeah, we're talking about the E, and we're talking about TNA. Yeah, I said 2 programs. But especially that first one. Why is it that, okay, sure, casual fans, they can make objections all they want. That's fine and dandy. But I don't expect that from my peers. And by peers, I'm talking about the other guys on the circuit. Yeah, I'm talking about the boys. Alright. There is a term. Alright. You know what? I usually knock my brains out, trying not to bring these things out to the fore, but people do it anyway. Alright, we got a term in the wrestling community called marking out. Alright, for those of you who don't know, alright, your casual fans, alright, those are your marks. Okay, those are your marks. Those are the guys that pay their hard-earned money, they pay a ticket, they come to the shows, they do what fans do. Our term for that is we mark out. Biggest crime once upon a time used to be when one of the boys do it. Okay? Case in point. I turn around, and this is like 5-6 months deep into the business. First real road trip, Indianapolis. Okay? We're in the locker room. And I thought it was funny. Back when I was young, back in high school, I used to do this imitation of Randy Savage, why he sounded the way he did. And, you know, a couple of rows over, one of the vets heard that shit. Pardon my German. Scheisse for my German friends. 2 rows over, one of the vets heard it. Next thing I hear is, who's marking out? They cracked the whips. I'm like, whoops. I don't do that anymore. Mind you, this is back in February of 1999, Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah, I remember. And very, very, very rarely do I ever do anything like that. I do enough weird stuff in the back as it is, but not enough to draw fire from another vet. And then fast forward, here it is. I'm 13. I'm about a couple months shy of 13 years myself. Okay, I don't crack the whip per se or something like that, but I normally don't think about it. I still don't do it. But that's just an example. That was my mark out moment. But My biggest pet peeve, going back to that, is when you got guys who pretty much came up the same time I did, and they're talking about what they just saw amongst themselves like it really matters. I'm like, come on, y'all. Y'all didn't miss. Y'all got the memo the same time I got the memo. All right. Don't you dare sit up there and tell me you don't know what's been going on for the past 9 years on television. Why they're not doing this? Why they're not doing that? And why they stopped doing this? Okay. You can't possibly tell me you missed a memo when Vince turned around. Not only did he went public back in 1999, 3 years later, he turned around and sang like a canary about what he's doing and why he's doing it. And because he's going to keep doing it that way because he's trying to make money. Which is also why anybody under the contract is no longer allowed to call themselves wrestlers. Oh, by the way, all that money that they're making when they're on contract, technically speaking, they're still going by the old tenet that they're independent contractors, ladies and gentlemen, which means the money they make, guess what it's going back into? Think about it. Do the math. 360 days out the year, you're on the road. And 9 times out of 10, you're in the air. Guess what you're doing? That money that you made that might have been 6 figures, cha-ching, that's going back out your pocket, and that's paying your airfare, and it's paying for your hotel, and it's paying for anything other, paying transportation, car rentals, food, blah, 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 blah. Now try and figure out exactly when they've got time to actually get a good workout in there, sucker. I'm just saying. But remember, they're independent contractors. Any wrestler that's been in long enough to do their freaking own work knows for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they are responsible for getting to the venues on their own. No promoter ever does that. If they do, they're doing them a service, and the only time they normally do that sort of thing is if you're working for Japan and they really, really like you, because that's just the type of thing that they do. Anybody else is being overly polite. Now, that goes into that other bit. Guys, remember that thing I was talking about no health care? Hello? And I just turned around and saw interesting footage over the weekend about some guy trying to do a senton in the bleachers on a guy he put on the table. Looked beautiful. One problem. He missed a guy. Landed on the bleachers right in front of him. Now ask yourself, is it worth it? This is wrestling we're talking about. Is a senton necessarily a wrestling move? Okay, sure. You see it in Lucha Libre, but come on. You think you think you're the last person to do this mess after you try and pull it off? Trust me, they've been doing that off and on for the last 15 years when they saw ECW. You're not the last one. But ask yourself, is it worth it? That goes back to what I said last week. Alright? You might be in your 20s now, you're going to pull it off, but what happens when you can't walk? Personally, I take my chances with somebody trying to put me in a neck crank. At least I got enough sense to know how to try and get out of it. If I can, I tap. But guess what? I can walk. Now, going back to that marking out thing, that still ties in, because guess what you just did? You just marked out. Why? Because you saw somebody else do it on TV. You want to try it yourself because you wanted to be cool. You know what I call it? It's a form of masturbation. You want everybody, you want an audience so bad, you want the attention so bad, you want to figure out some kind of way to throw your leg in the back of your neck while you're wanking. That's what it is. It ain't wrestling. Okay, you go to a wrestling school. That's the implication. But are you really learning any technique? Maybe. Are you going to use it? Probably not. Because you want to look cool. Oh, you know, you're in your 20s, you're young, you're bulletproof, you're invincible until you get that one move that screws you up and bangs you up and now you're out. Is it worth it? Marking out on many, many, many levels. Y'all got to remember one small thing. This is a crazy sport for us. Several reasons. One of them has to do with the fact that for some strange and unknown reason, well, I don't know. People turn around, they say what they want about it. Oh, it's fake, it's predetermined, da-da-da-da-da. Guess what? That's the thing that makes it so highly political. Sad but true. Why? That was the very thing that actually killed the National Wrestling Alliance. No one person did it. Usual suspect, believe it or not, is self-interest. I've written about it before. You'll probably hear me say it again. Self-interest. Usual suspect. But that's what usually forms the politics that makes this whole thing go round and round and makes it become less and less of a sport. Believe it or not, some of us are trying to make it a sport again. I'm not the only one. You just might see me being a talking head that's talking about it most of the time. But no, I'm not the only one. There's a bunch of us out there. If you look hard enough, you'll see us coming to the fore. You probably saw a few of us already. You'll see more of us again. On that note, this is a new record. It's just under 11 minutes. And guess what? It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. I came home and I survived 3 workouts. That second one involved the 10 and 13 ounce curl. And then the other one involved 12 kilo kettlebells and a steam bath. Sweat all that stuff right on out. And yes, I'm being a good boy and sticking to my diet outside of liquid bread, because that liquid bread was also washing down a chickpea salad. I'm not kidding. And they snuck in some mint leaves with the baby spinach. Good touch. I'm stealing that. Yeah, I'm a foodie too. But on that note, I'm going to keep it under the 12-minute mark. So I'm out of here. I got mail to finish checking out. And once again, to my German crew, great. To my Belgian, my Flemish crew, inderdaad. The rest of y'all, I'm out.